cousins lives out there. All right. It looks like we're live. Woohoo! With that being said, welcome to the inner room with Out of My Damn Mind. This is the space where walls fall away, where stories don't just get told, they land, messy, real, and alive. Here, writers open the door to what drives them, what haunts them, and what keeps them going. Every voice has its own rhythm, its own scars, its own sparks, and together we trace the threads that hold us, break us, and connect us all. I am so happy to kick off June with like this amazing human that you might see in blue right now. Her name, known on Substack as the In Between, but Mila, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, we had a bum rush of people enter. So Aaron,
So
Denishi,
glad you're
Paul,
here today.
Kevin, Dear, The Biological Imagination, Molly, Brad, Graham, thank you all for coming. If you're new to the inner room, like Mila is, I come up with 20 curated questions for my co-host. Um, so with that being said, you get to pick your numbers or I can just shoot you with some.
No, I'm just gonna do like angel numbers. Is that weird?
Well, they're 1 to 20. So how are you gonna do that?
Oh yeah, no, I can't. I could
I
just
was
do
like,
11.
you can do 11. Oh, we're gonna jump right into the middle of this thing. So it's gonna be interesting. You recently, so I if anybody happened to catch Mila's impromptu live yesterday, this question kind of came from that and a recent post of hers. You recently talked about not loving your own voice. What made you decide to read your work out loud anyway?
I like to do things that make me really uncomfortable. A lifelong challenge to myself. And I think one of the things that I felt lately is hearing people's voices have made me feel so much more connected to their writing whenever people have been adding voiceover to their work, when I've been seeing people in lives more and more. And I feel like it's happening more and more. I mean, your show has been here for a while, but I think other ones are starting to pop up. And I think there's something special about hearing people and not just seeing their writing. And I think also hearing the imperfections in people's voices is really special. I used to, and that's what the poem was about. I used to hate my voice. I hated that I had an accent. I hated that I didn't always say words right, that I paused, that my voice wasn't dramatic, to the point that I went from a spoken word poet to a playwright so I could hide behind the scenes and have other people act for me.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I was like, you do hold so many hats, and I, I have it. I think I have an accent. There's certain words that I can't say, but I very much always used to just lean into that. So it's interesting to hear another person's perspective. We're like, no, I don't really want to share my voice, and I'm like,
You,
so what if I say axe? So what if I say walk or talk or coffee? Like, so what if I
New York accent. I think for me it was more of an immigrant,
good accent? Yeah, but
I
it's
wasn't born in this country, so I still had like that stigma,
yes.
sounding like an immigrant, being treated differently as an immigrant.
Yeah, I don't like that for you, but I definitely can empathize and relate. I grew up in a very predominant Irish community, so being Puerto Rican and Italian, I definitely stood out. They were like, "What's that over there?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's the caramel girl. Like she's got a little toasty color, and she's got brown eyes and all this weird stuff." And it was funny, but I appreciated getting the opportunity to experience that yesterday because I felt like you've definitely done this before. So
I have done it before, but I never felt like I was the best at it. And I'm so competitive that if I'm not the best at something, I kind of do the next thing.
Well, I think you're great, and maybe I don't have a whole bunch to compare you to, but I'm not even lying to you. Like I literally had chills listening to you perform that piece yesterday, and I was like, what a blessing. Now, obviously, I think a big reason why you did that was because you just reached a huge milestone here on Substack in such a short time. So I wanted to say congratulations on getting to your 3,000, probably more now, subscribers. Well deserving. And do you plan on doing more of that type of live? Because I know you had spoken a little bit at the end. So what do you want to let everybody know kind of what you've been thinking?
So I grew up on Def Poetry Jam. I watched it every night that it was on. It was kind of like my Bible. It's what made me love poetry. And my love of poetry started with hearing it out loud. It wasn't reading it. And it was poetry that sounded like hip hop. And it was poetry that sounded like Brooklyn. And it didn't sound like an old white man in a book. Like real people and their real lives and people that were really different from you, you know? So that's the poetry that raised me, you know? So once I got on here, I was like, how can we bring that to Substack? Because there's so many poets on here, right? So I'm just like, okay, what if I just made my version of Def Poetry Jam, but for Substack? And then it could be, because the poets here don't quite have a community yet. You know, like there's like individual pockets of poets, but there isn't a gathering kind of
That's
space
true.
or show. Like a lot of the fiction writers and genre writers have a lot of community here, you know, but poets, we don't even have a category. We're
Do
just
you,
like, this is literature.
that's actually really true because I was like, you're rising right now, I think, in literature, right? And because
Yeah,
poetry is not an option on that, which is
we don't exist.
wild. But it's like, but that's wild. I do feel like that's wild. I have been very blessed to come across a ton of writers here that are amazing at poetry, and I'm like, ooh, maybe I should learn. And I'm like, I feel like the only poetry that I've ever like leaned towards more lyrical than anything. But I genuinely enjoyed your live yesterday, and I look forward to seeing how you continue to create that space for everybody on this platform that associates as poets. Now, do you feel like I do like reflections that are short form. Do you feel like you'll ever open that up to others besides I think poets deserve a space though,
Sure.
100%. But do you think you'll ever open it up to others?
So another thing in New York that I really love, I don't know if you've ever heard, Moth does story slams. So this is more actually people go and they tell stories,
Right.
like the way people used to tell stories around a fire. And I've like really been thinking about how do you make Substack like that communal space that we used to have, you know, where people would like gather and just hear things and not just read them alone, you know. So I think stories, just as much as poetry, are designed to be told out loud, you know.
Oh, I love that. I will spend 2 seconds paying attention to a comment or two that came up. Lynn says, "I'm an occasional poet who never published, much less liked poetry until I started writing here. Now I appreciate it so much." And James said, HER said, "The moth." I was like, I would, that type of community definitely needs to be established, and I think you're a great one to hold the torch to get it started, my friend. With that being said, do you want to pick another number?
9.
You talk a lot about helping other people find their voice. What helped you find yours?
I've always been loud.
I think what is that the immigrant to Brooklyn in you? Like, do you think that's a part of
No,
maybe the
I think my voice has constantly been stifled and I just kept going, you
good
know.
for you though. Good for
Um,
you.
so I think the process has not been finding my voice, it's been removing the layers of other people telling me to be quiet.
Valid, valid. Well, when do you think that shedding started happening then? Do you feel like it's more recently?
Never ends. Never ends. It
So
was
you feel like even as a little girl, you were constantly shedding the people telling you to shh, be quiet, you're loud, like, and just kept you're like, no, I'm gonna keep using my voice.
No, I think I had moments of rebellion, and then once I hit 40, it was like, I'm gonna stop caring what other people think. I mean, and then I think it was like the usual, like, oh, a little bit of spiritual awakening, a little bit of the woo-woo, a little bit of hormones change in your premenopausal and tells you not to think about what other people think anymore, you know? So I think a lot of women, once they kind of hit that 40-year-old point, they start
Mm.
to let go of a lot of the last vestiges of what other people have decided for them and kind of embrace who they are underneath all that programming, you know?
I very much know. Yes. Real quick though, Deborah said, by the way, that she loves your voice, but she has to go. But thank you for stopping in and letting Mila know that her voice is amazing. Yeah, I think in all fairness, I'm not 40 yet, but I think at 35, I will. It's getting real close. I'm like, ooh, I'm like really close to it, but I'm not completely there yet. But I think at 35,
Yeah.
because of the way that my life just kind of crumbled and I just
Mhm.
lost all these things that I identified as part of my identity, I think it forced me to really like, well, do I really want to be this way? Was I this way because I needed to be? Was it this way because
Dark
I
Knight
wanted to be?
Soul action, yeah, just kinda crumble.
Right, right. So it's like the woo woo and the spiritual in the universe was like, let's shake this bitch up a bit because I
Yeah,
don't think she understands who she really is.
yeah.
So while it's been uncomfortable as hell, I am grateful for getting that opportunity to definitely learn a little bit more about myself over the last year and a half. I kind of wanted to actually though.
Powerful and wonderful.
Well, I think it's been a lot of like I hate the way this is turning out right now, but I
Yeah,
know that I'll get into a season of my life where it'll be like it all makes sense on why it happens,
yeah.
you know. So I'm trying to stay optimistic when literally every day of my life is like, here's a shitstorm, deal with it.
I truly do believe everything happens for a reason, and then you just have to wait a while for that reason to cement itself. I think you come out stronger or smarter, or at least you are like, I'm never doing that again.
Right. It's the learning curves that come with living, right? Like the
Yeah.
experience of just living life. Fate is actually one of I can't turn my wrist the right way, but fate was actually one of my first tattoos. I've always been a strong believer in everything happens for a reason. Like people used to ask me when I was in my 20s, like, do you regret doing this? I'm like, no.
No.
Like if I made any different decision, then I would be different. And I am aware
My
of that.
liver might be in better shape, but
Listen, I wasn't that. I mean, honestly, it's the brain that really took the toll because I wasn't that bad of a drinker. I could drink, I could hold my own, but
yeah.
I definitely liked my drugs a lot more, and that definitely
I
ice
think
cream scoops
those are
of my
great too.
brain. Yep, yep, yep. Chris says the universe puts you where it needs you, kind of thing, and I
I,
like that. I believe that. I like that. Oh man. You want to shoot for another number?
let's go for 3.
I like 3. You built something pretty quickly here. Why do you think people have connected with your work?
It's funny because Allison Inc. actually said something to me yesterday where she was like, "I think people like you because you're messy,"
Well,
and I'm
and
like, "I'm
sometimes, but
just
that's super
well,
relatable, is it not?
yeah,
Is it not
yeah,
though?
no,
Messiness is
no, it's
relatable.
real. Like I don't pretend to be something I'm not. I show like my flaws. I like let people underneath the like. I mean, there isn't any facade of like being perfect in any way. Like I'm just like I'm a mess. Cool, come on the journey.
Hi, nice to meet you, fellow messiers. Jim said you're relatable, and I think that's what it is. I think when people are okay and comfortable with sharing their mess and owning their mess, people are more likely to lean into that. So I agree that messiness is sometimes a key to for others to lean in and support a
That
little
is the
bit.
model of what
Just
is it?
be messy.
Be a mess.
Yeah, you know what? You should totally do one of those in a very sarcastic type of way of what how to grow in 5 months on Substack. Look, I did it. This is how you do it. Just be messy, write what you want, say what you feel, just share it out there without worrying about somebody else's opinion of it. I think
Throw up on notes all the time.
well, to be fair, sometimes like being able to like sit and write a post and everything like that's great, but it's sometimes easier to just like connect and have quick
Yeah,
conversations with people through a note, or
yeah.
maybe I just have a thought and a thought didn't translate into a full poem or a full reflection post or whatever the case, but that thought resonates with so many people. I Some of your notes have me dying. I was like
I
like
use notes like stream of consciousness. Like literally, as soon as a thought comes in my head, I just
it's added to the Substack Note app. Yep, got it. Well, I mean, I think that's Substack Note is like a elevated version of what Facebook was, right? Because Facebook was just like whatever you were doing, you were supposed to share it. Like anything that you had, you were supposed to put on
yeah,
there. And I was
I
like,
had one sandwich.
yo, I tried Jersey Mike's chicken salad sandwich today, and it was delicious. Because yes, I was influenced by somebody on TikTok who ate it. It was like, you must eat this, and I'm like, oh, I must eat it. Yes, of course.
Yeah, mozzarella, that pulling mozzarella thing that was on TikTok for a while. I think it said
Did you
beef.
did you try that?
It was good,
Did
but
you?
I went there and there was a line and I couldn't get it, and I was so mad because all this anticipation has been cheesy mozzarella.
Wait, the cheese pull on the because that mozzarella is like massive, isn't it?
Yes, Yes,
It's like
yes.
it's
You're
you.
getting
It's
your
you.
money's worth at Chili's with this mozzarella.
Did you? So wait, did you never go back then to
No,
try? Okay.
I did eventually go back.
Was it
Um,
worth the hype?
it was good. It was good. There was like different flavors to it. Like, I mean, anything on TikTok worth I buy a lot of terrible TikTok shops.
Well, I have my eyes on a couple of things on the TikTok shop that I'm like, I don't know. But this shirt is definitely one of the things that I bought off the TikTok shop. So
I think I got this dress.
just not trying to plug another platform or anything. It just apparently that's another space where you can get heavily influenced and buy shit you don't need. Jim says, I'm jealous of your bookcase. So am I. It's beautifully blue, just like your shirt, but the amount of books and keepsakes and stuff on there is
Like
probably.
books that I read.
I was like, yeah, when somebody has like my books are like on the like in one little area. When somebody has that much, you could yes, you're an avid reader. Where do you think you read more than you write, or you write more than you read?
I used to read more than I write, but now I write. Since Substack, I've been writing nonstop, so it would literally be impossible to read as well.
Well, how did you get here? Like, what was your journey to finding Substack? Because every time I have a co-host I've never had before, I'm always like, what brought you here?
Kind of
Like, how
woo.
did you?
It's a
Te-
little
it's a woo woo. It's a woo woo story. I like it.
cool story. So I was in like, I've had like a bazillion little moments lately of like, what am I doing with my life? I hate advertising, but that gives me money, and I want to be a writer, and everything that everyone goes through here. Um, and one of, and I also was having like some chronic pain issues with like my pelvic floor and like all this other stuff. So I'm just like, I need to talk to someone that is both like woo woo, but kind of like a therapist, but kind of
Right.
understands pain. And my friend was like, so I know this astrologer person that used to be a family therapist that mostly deals with people with like disabilities and health issues. And I'm like, yes, that
Sounds perfect. Yes, I need that.
Theo is their name. Um,
Oh,
so I got on this astrology session with Theo, and it's all like it was so. They did like my whole chart, and then did like some past life stuff, and essentially in all the past life stuff, because I've been a workaholic ad person for like 20 years, like nonstop, like up all night, then working all day, then caffeinating, then like just super like work was another like addiction for me, you know.
yeah.
And I was into it, like I was really rising up the ladder, but I just like got laid off from my last job like a year or so ago, and then I'm just like I kind of hated it. Like I didn't want to keep ascending, like everyone at the top was miserable, you know. And I kept making like those like manifestation lists of what I
Yeah.
wanted until I like manifested a layoff. I kept on the list. I kept writing like community, that I wanted community. And so I went to this astrologer slash therapist slash like everything person. They did my chart, and in my chart, in all my past lives, I was this kind of overachiever, leader kind of like position. And like the astrologist was just like, so in this life you're just supposed to like act like you're retired and just like chill out. I'm like, I don't know how to chill out. I've never chilled out in life, you know. And I just got all sad, and I was like, but I want to keep writing.
Right. And
And
you had
um
like you're goal oriented probably, you know.
yeah. I mean, like I was like a nerdy kid that wanted to get the A on the test, and that did extra credit, and like dorky in every way, and read all the books. So super cool. But yeah, the astrologist was like, you did all that in all your past lives. You did multiple lives of this. Like you're here to create a home for yourself, find yourself, and chill out, like live your life as if you were retired. And I was like, that doesn't sound like it works with capitalism, but cool. Like a lot of people would like to hear that. And I would be like, I don't know. But then I'm like, but I still want to write. And then they said, you can write, but you have to write in a way where you're writing for yourself, you're not writing with a profit incentive of like, I need to achieve, I need to have gatekeepers,
Right.
I need to get the next step and stuff. And just like write, and the rest will kind of like come to you, and just don't try to like achieve all the time. Like just stop trying to achieve. So then the next day, after I got this astrology reading where I was allowed to write, but not to write for like profit and achievement,
Right.
I
Right.
was really depressed about. Uh,
I think you're achieving very well, my friend.
I literally before that did a manifestation list that had like 100 things on it, you know? So like that's how like of an overachiever I was. And so the next day I'm on Facebook, and this playwright that's in my playwrights group with me, um, I saw her Substack,
Mm.
and I went on her Substack, and and then I'm just like, well, maybe this is it. Like, maybe this is the place where I could just write and try not to achieve anything.
um,
I was not as chill about it as I planned, but I was more chill about it than I have ever been in my life comparatively. That's
well, I mean, it sounds like it's working regardless.
yeah.
Like it's working for you. No?
And I stopped, like, there is things I haven't done since like I had that reading. Like I haven't submitted to like festivals, I haven't talked to agents, I haven't like gone to gatekeepers. I've just been writing and just kind of building my community without going to like authority figures. Um,
Mm. You
which
are the authority figure, my friend.
I don't know about that, but
I mean, because you are it in your own life. So I mean, 100. You're the one behind the
yeah.
in between. That's your baby that you're
And
growing and customizing and curating, and the amount of people that obviously adore you are very prevalent in this room right now. But it shows in not just your subscriber count, but the way people restack you and leave comments and share their thoughts with you is, that's what you are, my friend. So own that hat. You deserve it. No more hiding. We're not doing no playwriting. You deserve to have the voice at the front of the stage, my friend. But real quick, because there's some debate in the chat that I don't look at the chat. Emi, thanks for joining. I'm glad that you've been able to catch both us. She says, how lovely to see this duo. Isn't it great? I didn't even know we were both New Yorkers. Like, hi. We should have met at a fucking cafe instead. Maybe next time. But Jim, thanks for standing up for us. Margaret, hello, hello. Stuart says we call grandma granular. You can call me like you want, just not late for dinner. Alexi, I always love your random input, but thank you all for joining us. We just started. I think you've answered 3 questions, and I've learned so much about you, and I adore you. Yes, go Knicks. And are you a Knick fan? Because that is a deal breaker. Well, I might have to end it if you say no.
have any feelings about any sports, but my there was this weird thing where kids get to stay up late to watch some games that like now somehow my kids are in on, which I did not. Like my husband like told them this, and now I'm just like, wait, but I don't want to. I want to
The
bubble
New York the New York
back.
Listen, it's a big deal. I've
Yeah.
I've been a Knicks fan my entire life. I've only seen them get to the finals once in '99, and I was 9 years old. So this is a cool moment for New Yorkers. But I think just like you're talking about, writing and building a community here, I think that's what sports does. Is it allows a community to have pride, and us New Yorkers have a lot of pride, especially when the Knicks are actually good because they've been so bad for so long. So
In theory, I never got into. I don't
it's
know.
okay. It's okay. I mean, it's not for everybody. Your sport is a little different. You like to competitively write, apparently. So we're here for we're we're here for that. Were you good at that?
That's
Were you
right.
good at Scrabble? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You were that one that made like that really long word that ended on both a double like this and a triple that, and
You
so you
know
got
what?
all the
I didn't
points.
used to play it for like the numbers. Like I didn't used to do like the QI business and all that stuff and like play by the numbers. I used to play it by the words, but my husband plays it by like the numbers and strategy. And I'm like, Now I have to play by strategy because you keep beating me and you can't beat me.
Because I'm competitive, didn't you know? Like
I won't make the word I want to make. I'll make the word that lands on the right.
Right, that gets you the
Yeah,
most points. Yes, it does. That's interesting. Yes, there are two different types of Scrabble players, and
yeah.
you and your husband are each one. Chris has a great question, specifically also because I have recently I got laid off of my job, so it's definitely something that people can relate to. So he says, so for the people who are also laid off and don't have a path to not pursue monetization, laugh loud, which gatekeepers should we be sending our writing work to? You don't actually send your work anywhere, right? You're
I
just
don't do
everything.
it anymore. I used to for theater and screenwriting. Back when I was still trying to get in with the gatekeepers there, and it's you spend a lot and you gain a little,
You know, yeah,
so just for me, like, and I was winning festivals with some of my like screenplays and like some stuff I produced, but at the end of the day, like the amount you spend versus the amount you gained just didn't,
yeah,
pay
did
off
it,
for
right.
me. I don't know, I literally just started writing fiction again, like when I joined Substack. I hadn't written fiction for 10 to 12 years.
Wow,
um, and I
wow.
just saw people doing it on Substack, and I'm like, I missed that. That was fun. Let's do
Let's
that again.
do that because we don't like boxes on this platform. You could
Yeah,
be whatever you want to be.
yeah. I wasn't writing poetry really either, other than like advertising manifestos at work. I was just writing screenplays and plays for many years, but I started with poetry. But yeah, I came back to all of it like on Substack.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know anything about that because I still think I'm an imposter here. So,
Everyone
um,
else.
I
No
definitely.
one's real, so it doesn't matter.
Well,
Like,
that's also true. That's also very true. But I just like I was always in retail, so retail management was literally my life. And after that, I was just like, oh, I've always liked words. Words are fun, and I've always liked to put them together in sentences. So I was like, let's try this. But I think the only place that I have submitted anything to is New York Times Modern Love column, just because was I'm very I appreciate the column, and I was like, oh, it'd be cool one day to see my stuff in there. But I feel like you do have to like submit heavy and like pray because there's a lot of people also submitting to something like that. But I wouldn't know how to answer that question either.
so, I mean, maybe at the end of this year, I'll go back to that, like submitting things and getting back. But part of me is like, maybe that's not the way the world is going to work anymore.
I
Maybe
would
people
love that though.
build communities and self publish and like maybe and support each other instead. And then we create our own little mini economies and we're not dependent on giant corporations and,
Just anybody in here that also feels aligned with that. We Mila will be opening the doors in the next couple of months apparently. I would genuinely love that. I mean, obviously on different social media platforms there's other people talking about bringing back their own versions of barter systems and stuff like that. Just again,
and
community driven. It's
like
huh?
through patronage, like long
Yeah.
patronage that like is long form over the course of a career, where they give you like something to make, like that worked great for a long time. Made capitalism up not that long ago, if you think about the history of humanity, right?
I just like this is where I'm get a little annoyed with my spirit. Like, why did you pick this time? Because I absolutely hate the systems that we currently are living in, the constructs that we have right now. Because I don't feel like it's the way that humans were naturally supposed to engage with each other. And I truly like the inner room to me is what I would want my societal life to kind of be like, where it's just people having conversations and openly sharing things because lived experiences help other people live their experiences. So I hope to see a day where things look different in this lifetime of mine, because I or to be a part of it with you, Mila, to be a part of the change and the resurrection.
World.
We'll just bring it. Yeah, we'll just build like Michelle says, we'll build a utopia of our own. And
I mean, we're on our way to dystopia, so we got to support from now.
Yeah, Chris says, what is happening with social media and isolation absolutely is abnormal. And
Mhm.
I do agree. And it's so again, this is where it's like I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but 2020 happens, there's a whole pandemic, we're all forced to like stay by ourselves, right? And then all of a sudden a platform like TikTok explodes and now people are like, "Ooh, I can make money being a influencer, a
Yeah,
creative in that type of aspect." And it's like you only get to see what you like. I don't get to see everything that's on that platform.
yeah,
It's filtered specifically to the things that I would enjoy. So it's I don't even get the exposure of all. So I don't know. It seems very like constantly sticking us in spaces like this is what you are, this is who you are, this is what you like, and this is all that you get to see. And like we forget that there's a whole world out there. There's many countries out there that live very differently than we do here in America. But
yeah.
we won't go too far off the beaten path. You want to pick another number?
I picked all odd numbers, didn't I?
Maybe that's for a reason.
Now I feel like I want to be contrarian.
Okay, go ahead, shoot.
It's up to 20, right?
It's up to 20, yeah.
All right, then I'm going to go for 18.
Ooh. Just to forewarn you, the higher the number, the deeper the questions, because that would have been like, you know. But I think this is very aligned to what we were talking about. What do you think artists are hungry for right now? This was a question based off of your recent post, eating rich, or I forget. You could say that.
They're
Yeah.
hungry to eat millionaires. Community. I think people want community again. I think people want, but also in a physical, real way. I think people want to be in a room with other people making things, and like having something that they made together and experiencing stuff and like having emotional journeys. Like I like my one, I mean, I have a bazillion dreams, but one of them that I think like should just happen, and I think Substack should fund it, is we should have writers retreats like funded by Substack to build the community. And then whatever, we'll like post some things from it, like the way those like influencers do on the trips. And we're like, oh, we're here. Thank you, Substack. Thank you, at Substack.
Right, right. We could definitely do that. I
Oh,
could do
thank you, at
that.
I'm mad at you, at Substack. But yeah, I think like writers retreat, like some of my most magical experiences have been at writers retreats with like my playwrights group, and just kind of spending that time all physically together and working on our writing. And it's like magical things happen. Like you'll be in those groups and suddenly there's like synchronicities between everyone's writings, there's synchronicities between everyone's stories. Like they're truly kind of bonding experiences, and it's not just about writing. It's really beautiful. And like I've been in the same playwrights group, god, 10 no 12 years, 12
Wow.
years. And then we go off and on, like pandemic, we're all virtual, and we just decided for the first time in like 5 years, we're like, we're gonna meet in real life again. We used to meet in real life all the time at the Irish Rep.
Oh,
The Irish
is that in the city?
bathroom. Yeah, it's this Irish repertory theater, the small little theater that only puts on Irish shows that one of the playwrights was working at. And after hours, we would go and we'd all have like random like coffee and hot chocolate back. And we would do readings of our plays on the little stage. And like afterward, we would all like sit on the stage and like talk about the work. And we would go like every like Tuesday. Every Tuesday we would have our little playwrights group, and we would go. And over years, like yeah, over 12 years, and it's been people in and out. Like some people have been there from the beginning, but it's like it's pretty
So
crazy to like have a writing community for that long and like see people grow.
I
No
think
one
it's
made money at the end.
but I think that's beautiful, and I think that answer a lot of the people in the chat can also agree with that. We as a collective are definitely thirsty for community, hungry for community, hoping for community, and it's weird because again, until you have a conversation with another human, you sometimes think you're the only one that thinks a certain way, right? So it's been so refreshing to sit here in your energy, because even though we're not next to each other, which honestly, if we do this again, we should be in person, just saying.
Yeah, well,
Because we can do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
We can definitely arrange that. But I do think that energy does,
Yeah.
if you want to call us woo woo, then whatever. But I think that that is something that is necessary to human connection and bonding, is to take up space and feel each other's energy and be moved by it. So
Well, even when you get someone on video, like right now, if like I meet someone on video, I feel so much more of like their energy and like know things about them. And like sometimes like I'll feel it in like my whole body. I mean, I'm super woo, but I'll feel it like when I like kind of get that tingle when you have that moment of a connection and like you like have a similar experience or you know something's like just right for them, you know?
No,
Yeah.
absolutely, and that's why I love these conversations, because I have never met any of you guys before we go live, which we have 15 minutes of like, hey, let's connect, so we're
Yeah.
not complete strangers talking. But I'm always blown away with how easily it has been. I've been able to connect with each one of my co-hosts, and you have very much been aligned to the things that nowadays I'm very much hungry for, that I'm very much hoping for, that I wish that I can continue to create spaces that make differences, that make people feel safe enough to be themselves, supported in ways that they haven't been before. So I very much appreciate what you do in the in between. And I can't thank you enough for obviously agreeing to do this with me. I actually think you were like, hey, I want to do this, and I was like, oh yes, then we need to do this.
I just I like to talk.
Well, this space is definitely for the co-host to shine, and it's just for me to be over here like, oh my god, I'm obsessed with all of these amazing humans on this platform. How did I get here? And then like I'm reminded, and I'm like, yeah, something shitty had to happen for me to actually, you
Yeah.
know, reach this type of community that's here. So
Someone just lost their job and I go to and she's like, I lost my job and I'm kind of depressed and I'm just like, join Substack.
do it, just do it. Even again, even if you don't think you're a writer, then you could still be a reader, you could still connect, you could still, I learn a
Oh,
lot
they're
about
like, I
myself.
want to write smut. I'm like, join Substack and write
Oh,
smut.
I mean, that's a great lane to start.
Yeah.
Oh
She has a
man.
smutty side already, so I'm like, I think that's your calling. I think you should join Substack and write smut.
I mean, I don't, what's funny? Again, I don't know if it's because of my lack of actually being on the platform most days, but I don't actually get that many type of authors, and I'm like, where are this many people? Where are all the? Because I
Yeah.
hear about them, like people refer to them, but I'm like, I don't see that big of a community of it, and I think that that
Oh
definitely
no,
needs to
it's
continue to grow.
big.
Is it?
Yeah.
So, if anybody knows any smut authors after this situation, please send me their Substack so I can review that, because apparently I need that in my life. Chris says Substack is now your employer. Welcome to your peanuts per month via Stripe.
And
True.
occasionally a coffee.
Oh, buy me a coffee. You could people, and that's still, but they also take something too. You
Yeah.
get like a
Yeah, yeah.
percentage of it. It's
They
funny.
take coffee. They take the
I'll
coffee.
I rather just like actually bring you out and let's go get a cup of coffee, because I think New York has one of the best like places of coffee shops everywhere. So
It does.
he also said, I don't know smut writers, but I know some spicy adult content creators. Yeah, I know. I've seen some of those too. Smut adjacent. Yes, correct. All right. So you went 18. So are you going to go odd or even now?
Even I guess maybe I'll go low. I went high. What is it when they go when they go low?
You go either way.
Did I go two yet? Did I go down to the beginning?
No, you didn't go to yet. Do you want to go to?
Sure.
What was happening in your life 5 months ago that made you decide to hit publish for the first time?
I think it was right after um the astrology thing.
Right.
I was laid off, so I had time. It happened. Well, I did it Christmas. Oh, I was really depressed. I was really
Hmm.
depressed and sad. Um,
Isn't
God,
it funny that like we all kind of go through this similar emotions when certain things kind of impact our lives?
yeah,
I think depression is really normal for a lot of things that life throws at us, and I think it's a shame that more people aren't open to just allowing it to exist in the time and space that it needs to exist in. I think depression also helps people reach happiness, if that makes sense.
Yes, you if you're truly sad, you can appreciate the small things that make you happy. Like,
Mhm.
as you come out, like there was a point where I felt really numb in life, where like nothing could affect me. Like I was always my whole life the kind of person where I'd be like, look at that flower, look at that sunset. Like I love everything. Like that movie was the best movie that ever was. Like so into things, and then there was a period where I was numb, where nothing moved me, like just not like nothing could move me. I would go see the most beautiful play and it wouldn't move me, or I would see a film, or I would read something, or I would like be outside and it wouldn't move me, you know? And I was just like, oh, maybe this is it. Like maybe this is like post COVID life. Maybe this is like being an adult and post mom life. And maybe you don't have that anymore. And I'm like, no, I was just depressed.
How long did that stage how long did that stage, for you last, though?
I think Substack took me out of it.
Oh,
I
well,
think I just
well,
felt
look at that.
really lonely in life. I think I just felt like I felt disconnected, you know, and I think that like I think Substack really saved me from that, to be honest.
Well, I'm glad this space obviously exists for more reasons than not, but especially for that one. Yeah, I it's interesting to hear, we're 6 years after COVID and it still very much feels like it has a lot of effect on people. And again, sometimes until I have conversations, I don't realize that people feel the same way. And I've always been somebody that has enjoyed being in groups, but
Mhm.
also like doesn't mind being by myself. Like, because sometimes that the groups exhaust me because I didn't realize the way that energies affected my energy. So
Mm.
I definitely was the person that had good energy, but by the end of the night I might have really bad energy because of all the
Sure.
mixed up. Yeah,
Be a little
yeah,
sponge. Yeah.
yeah. And then it would take me a couple of days to recuperate, and then be like, all right, like, well, I can go out with people again. But I don't know. Like I've been in a stage of my life recently. I think Uber Eats has kind of ruined my belief in humanity sometimes because I'm observing how disconnected everybody is and how okay people seem to be okay with with it, like, and I'm like, why are we acting like this is normal? Why can you look me in the face and not even say thank you or hello?
People forgot how to be human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Forgot
weird.
it.
It's very weird for me. So, every day I'm like hoping for like the little glimmers of life where I get to connect with some random person who just like stops for 2 seconds and isn't go 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 here in lovely New York and is willing to have a brief conversation because why not?
Yeah.
Those are the moments that I look forward to. So, I do believe that Substack brings a lot of that joy just by sharing work, sharing notes, having the opportunity to connect with other humans. And I wish your Substack retreat event would be something that they take seriously.
I
Because
actually was gonna, because
submit something to them
well, I'm from like the advertising world, so like I know how to approach brands. So like on my list,
is
on
to reach
my
out.
list is to reach out to like the heads of Substack with both that and monetization ideas. So I have like a list of like all these monetization ideas that are kind of borrowed from like other industries, like the theater industry or like the film industry, because they have like for example, like groups, right? Like theaters will fund groups of writers at one time. You know, like a brand could do that, right? A brand, like let's say you're a brand that wants to support female writers.
Right.
They support a group of female writers and have an ongoing group that continues to write. And it's just the same thing as doing a collab with like other people. It gets paid for, you
Right.
know?
And that would be nice because we do unfortunately live in capitalism, and I do think that I would love to be able to just like wake up when I my body wakes up and go for a walk with my dog whenever I want, and drink my coffee when I want to and not feel rushed to be productive. At the end of the day, I very much resonated with your workaholic mentality. PetSmart, my goal was always to become a store manager. I started out as a part-time cashier and I worked my way up throughout that company. So when I achieved it, it felt so surreal. And did I think that I was going to lose it? Absolutely not. But I think it was for intention and purpose. I think my 16-year career with them was very toxic because I had to constantly conform to their rules, their regulations, their wants and needs that they wanted for their representation of their brand. And it did mean a lot of times I had to be quiet in the way that I thought something should be done or whatever the
You
case
don't
might be.
stand up for people and you find yourself becoming like a bad, I honestly felt that at the top of my industry, people weren't good people anymore. And I don't think they started that way. I think they started as good people, and the way corporations make people competitive with each other turns people against each other for their own survival, and good people become bad people as they ascend up the ranks.
Yep, I couldn't agree more because my boss, so that was a district leader. He was I was his assistant store leader when he was just a store manager. Like we had a relationship, we had a commonality. He was Puerto Rican, he was new to New York. I just moved back from Florida to New York. I obviously don't speak Spanish, but I can relate to the
Yeah.
fact that I'm Puerto Rican as well. Like we were a confidant in one another. We were a team, and then all of a sudden we both got promoted, and he did some dirty shit to keep himself safe, so it is what it is.
Thrown under the bus a lot by many bosses to save themselves, and they get fired like 6 months later when they realize.
Well,
I
I was really I'll be honest, I did get to a low point where I was like, "I hope that this company gets rid of him because he's a piece of shit of a human," but then I realized that's not really gonna make me happy, though.
Did you get those arrow TikToks where like justice will be yours? My algorithm kept going like, "You're gonna get justice."
I honestly, I don't know if he's still with the company. It's one of those situations where it's like, all right, it's hard for me to, and it's weird because I grew up in PetSmarts. It's hard for me to walk into any of the stores because I've worked in all of them in my area, so it's just disconnected at this point. But
I will.
um,
Karma does always come around though. Like when people do dirty, like it does. Not drunk yet, but like something bad is gonna really happen
well,
to
I'm
them.
sure bad has happened to people. I just
Yeah.
don't know about it. Like that's
No,
because we're so like I'm not in their life. They're not in mine for me to know about it. But I'm waiting for like good karma to also pay out. Like I'm like, haven't I like accrued enough good karma that I should like there should be a break yet? Like isn't that a thing? Is that not a thing?
supposedly the people that have the hardest life are the most spiritually advanced, and they chose it.
Yeah,
It's
well,
the
that's why I said I yell at my spirit all the time. I'm like, why did you choose this lifetime with this family and this economy?
You
Like,
are
why?
truly, a truly advanced soul that has learned everything you needed to learn in your other lives, and you're like, give me a challenge.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
I also,
But
I also think it's the people that end up helping other people. So people that have hard lives is because they're meant to help other people.
well, I will agree with because I do think if I didn't experience all the things that I have experienced, then I wouldn't be able to connect with X amount of humans that are also going through their own little life quakes of and stuff. So, I can get on board with that one, my friend. I need to ask you though, what is your zodiac sign?
I am a very true blue Pisces.
You're a Pisces.
Yeah.
My sister's a Pisces, so it's so interesting because I was like, I don't know, maybe I don't know her well enough to really understand what Pisces are, but everything that I do know about her is like loving, caring, overly giving sometimes, very bad at setting boundaries for
Yeah,
themselves.
hard. That was actually one of my lessons that I was supposed to learn, boundary setting, which I've been particularly bad about on Substack.
Well, yeah, so that so yeah, but your energy is definitely different than hers. I'm not saying like she isn't bubbly and go, but I think, everybody has there's different versions of all horoscopes, but that was an interesting one for me. I would have never guessed that for you. I love that though.
Yeah, no, if I could be a sea creature, I would.
Really?
Yeah.
So I guess I should ask, which sea creature do you feel like most aligned with?
It's interesting because I actually was just working. I was just resurfaced not a play, a film that I worked on Selkies, which is kind of the Scottish Irish version of mermaids. So I did always feel drawn to mermaids, which is kind of like a creature slash human, but the Selkie version is actually a seal,
Mm.
seal slash human, and that they shed their skin, and then if someone steals their skin, then they can't go back, which I just found
Oh.
really tragic. So it's kind of like they make the choice. They can easily make the choice to go on land, but they have to shed their skin to do it, and then they kind of open themselves up to someone taking it.
Ah, I that's
Yeah.
something you wrote?
No, that's
That's
the true legend of Selkies. Like the
wow,
true, like Irish, like Scottish legend of it. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore seals, though, I'm not even gonna lie.
So cute.
They're super cute. All right, because I respect everybody's time, we probably have maybe one more question, which obviously we didn't get through all 20s, but that's okay. Do you have another number in mind?
So did we do 20? You said the hardest ones, right? Let's do a hard one.
5 years from now, what do you hope the in between has become?
An empire.
I hope so too, and it honestly sounds like you have
Oh land.
no, I think that that's a realistic kind of thing. I mean, it
I
sounds like
don't
that.
know if it's realistic,
It's
but
totally realistic. In my brain, it's like you can do that because you have so many different ways of building community and ways of continuing to add to this that I genuinely look forward to see how you continue to move through this.
thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm just obsessed enough to maybe do it. So.
I mean, if it's a dream, I think you'll definitely achieve it at some point. You know, whether it's 5 or 3 or 7, it doesn't really matter. I think it'll definitely get there.
But I'm also retired and chilling out in this lifetime.
Right, but once you build
Like
the
a
empire,
chill empire, like a chill empire.
yeah, but once it's built, it's built. You don't have to we don't have to stress about it, right? You
Yeah,
know?
it doesn't work for the man because it's its own. It's its
Well, I mean, before we sign off or anything, since there are so many of you guys in here, if you any of you had a specific question for the in between, also known as Mila, you can obviously feel free to share it. Because this space doesn't exist without also the people that show up and support it. So I greatly appreciate everybody that's been in the chat. Sometimes I get to every comment, sometimes I can't. When I have amazing co-hosts like Mila, it's hard to because there's so many great things that are being said that I don't want to take away from the conversation we're having. But I will give you guys an opportunity to ask her any questions or anything that you might be interested in. And what I will ask, because I feel like there's a question in here that you didn't like say the number that I would
oh,
um
sorry.
I would like to
Was it an
ask.
even number?
No.
Ooh,
And it was 13 too, so it was like
ooh. I thought about 13 and I didn't do it.
have you become more comfortable being seen as you've gotten older?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Do you think there's still room for that to continue to grow for you?
Yes, because so when I do my manifesting stuff, I always keep seeing myself like on a big stage and like the thought of it right now in real life is petrifying. So I'm just like, there's a version of me
That
that could
gets
be
there.
on a
Yeah.
big stage, and I don't know what I'm saying and I don't know what's happening, but like I see that version of me existing somewhere and I'm curious about the energy of that room. Um, but I'm not that person yet.
So it's interesting that you brought that up because I sometimes I feel like I see myself in situations that I like, well, they didn't happen, they have not happened yet. Do you really believe that those are things that do actually still happen, just we're not in that timeline right now?
Well, I think multiple timelines, yeah, exist at the same time, and you're just seeing into them.
Mhm.
And then you kind of just find yourself on the path toward them through the actions you take. So I think if you are able to envision it, it exists somewhere,
Mm.
right? And your choices can get you there.
But I definitely have developed a belief in that. I don't think I've always thought that way. And it's very interesting for me because I feel like if I try to remember different versions of me, it's like I don't really remember how she thought or how she understood life or anything because I'm so like this is where I'm at right now. So I don't know. It's always an interesting perspective for me. But it's definitely something that I've learned to believe in and lean into because I also have seen myself on stage. I've seen myself on TV, and that's like wait what like can that happen? And I was like I hope it does
I mean,
because
it can. I mean, so many people start so many things late in life. Like if you look at like all these
I
successful
know.
people starting it
Yeah.
at 40, 50, 60, like 70, and 80. Like you could, there's a lot of life to change yourself many times, you know?
Yeah, and I think in all fairness, when I like look at it, the first 3 decades is a lot of being molded by others, and I feel like the ones to follow are the ones that like you're finally like, no, I don't, I shed this because it wasn't really mine to hold in the first place, and then like you become more of who you're supposed to be, and when that aligns, then I think that's when your life really starts to take off at whatever time that might be. But in my experience, like my first 3 decades were heavily influenced by the people that were around me, the environments that I grew up in, the
Yeah.
friends that I held.
Usually it's a negative influence, right? Like, you know?
Well, but then it brings a lot of perspective. It's also like a lot of learning of and self-awareness of, well, I also as a human had the opportunity to like be like, I don't want to act that way, but I chose to because I wanted to belong or fit in or, be cool or whatever the stupid little situations that were happening as you're a kid, growing up in the world that you're in. So
Yeah. And you always have to you can ask yourself now, like, is this mine?
right,
Know? And
right,
like 90% of the time, it's not yours. Like, if you really think about it, if it's negative, it's not yours because who you are is who you were when you were a kid before everyone told you what to be, right?
right.
And that kid just wanted to do things that gave them joy, you know?
That's why I feel like staying connected to younger versions of you are so important throughout your lifetime. Like I hate when people are like, "You're in your 50s, why are you being so childish?" I'm like, "That's the fucking point."
Yeah.
Like it wasn't ever supposed to be serious. This was a journey to be on and to experience and to live with joy. And why do I have to act a certain way because of my age?
Yeah. I mean, you have a choice how to live your life. Why not live it with as much joy as possible?
Right.
Like you can't choose what happens, so you can just choose how you react to it, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's probably the biggest lesson of my like last 6 months is definitely understanding what type of way do I want to react to the things that I cannot control. Just found out it's all for fun. Yep, quantum
Yeah.
quote. I agree. It's all always for fun. Well, Mila, I'm a kind of mad that I just found out that you're in Brooklyn. So just know that this
We'll
person
see each other
is
IRL.
right. I'm going to be very, very in your DMs, like, hey, I know you're a mom and a wife and everything, but when can you be free and like
I'm like,
go?
I'm doing a Substack retreat.
we,
You
I think we can probably
yeah,
gather a couple.
New York people,
Yeah, I'm sure that there are a couple of New York people, and we can gather
you
in a
know,
space. I would assume Manhattan would probably be the mecca of all, but like easier access for
yeah.
generalized location central.
Hard.
I mean, I would love to come to your backyard. Can my dog come?
Yeah, but they'd have to get along with my dog.
He gets along with all dogs, so as long
Okay.
as your dog likes dogs, then
No,
yes.
my dog likes dogs.
Okay.
Sometimes like she gets a little around.
I have such like a nonchalant dog.
She's a smut dog.
Oh, he likes to hump, but he likes to hump boys.
Oh,
Because he's only ever around boys. Look at that face.
to each their own.
Teachers. But I agree with Chris. We should definitely meet for coffee and go live together on Substack. Yeah, we could do an impromptu meet and greet, and then let the
Yeah,
chaos ensue.
I think we're hidden in Substack, New York. We're a big city.
We are, and I'm always like, wow, where are all the rest of the New Yorkers on
Because
Substack?
everyone's
And
like, "Oh, they're in London. They're like in the middle of the where are? How did
Or
everyone
in just different. I have a lot of UK, and I love them. There's a lot of my subscribers from there, and I love there, and they make me feel like I'm supposed to be there. But I do agree that New York probably has more, and we need to do better at connecting and doing. And I still am all about doing a Substack retreat in a different state as well because there
Let's
are so
go to the
many.
woods. Let's go to the woods.
I would love the woods. Like Colorado this time of year is pretty good for what I hear. They have also things that I enjoy recreational that are legal. Like that's my big thing is like I have to go places where my weed is legal because I need it in my life sometimes. um, but I greatly appreciate the fact that you agreed to this. You dealt with all my ridiculous questions. And thank you for everybody in the chat who decided to show up and join us. Um, Without any further ado, you've been in the inner room where the conversations go deep, the connections surprise, and the truths linger long after the world quiets down. Until next time, keep listening inward because that's where the stories that shape us really live. I appreciate you all. Have a great night or a great day. Bye.
Yeah.